Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll have the latest on yesterday's terrible fire in Augusta, where a barn was lost and a home was left badly damaged.
Plus, we'll introduce you to a Democratic hopeful who's taking an unconventional path, running as a write-in candidate for the June primary.
And the Island Explorer bus service is opening up 3 routes in Acadia National Park a little early this season.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have all the day's news coming up, both local, national, international.
Yeah, so many.
Even some baby ducks rescued from a drain. We got it all for you today. But first, to check that forecast, an absolutely gorgeous morning out there today. And it's going to be a nice day full of sunshine and warm temperatures.
It'd be a great day to go on a walk, get outside, do some yard work.
And do it today because I think the rain's moving in tonight.
It sure is.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote. 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have advisories posted. A small craft advisory is up until Thursday at around 2 a.m. So we will be watching for increasing surf as we do proceed forward in time with another area of low pressure moving through. But for today, we will not have to worry about that with a beautiful day on the way, with a mostly sunny sky on the way thanks to high pressure parked overhead. As we do zoom things out, there's our next area low pressure off toward the south and west, bringing a lot of thunderstorm action to parts of Tennessee and a few other areas. We'll see another area low pressure off toward the south and west that will begin to move into the north and east. So the main center is in parts of Canada. Another one off toward the south and west will begin to move in our direction very soon. But let's focus on today. Lots of sunshine. And then later on tonight, we will start to see more clouds. Some energy off toward the south will give us some more rain as we head towards your Wednesday. This is not the main area low pressure that I'm worried about, but we will start to see some more rain coming up soon. Hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine. Temperature is in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Looks great. Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, a barn is destroyed and a home is badly damaged following a fire in Augusta. Firefighters say the cloud of smoke could be seen well before crews arrived on the scene yesterday. Our Grace Blanchard was also there.
A second alarm was struck as crews raced to a fully involved structure fire on Church Hill Road in Augusta Monday morning.
While en route, it was confirmed that it was actually a working building fire. As we even got closer, we could see it, obviously coming up upon it. Ended up being a barn fire that had extended into the house.
Augusta Fire Chief Dave Groder says nobody was hurt. He says additional tankers from multiple departments were requested due to the lack of hydrants nearby.
So when we got here, we have our 2 trucks at 2,000 gallons of water, and once that's gone, we're done until they show up.
The fire also began to spread to the field, requiring assistance from Maine Forest Rangers who dropped water from a helicopter. We spoke with the homeowner briefly off camera. He shared that he and his family lived there for more than a decade, but recently moved and had plans to rent it out, so no animals were in the barn. He said, quote, "Praise the Lord, no one got hurt."
Both the house and the barn are considered a total loss. The cause of the fire is under investigation. In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, according to the Department of Public Safety, the fire started when a person was working on a generator next to the residence. A spark ignited the fuel, causing the fire to spread to the nearby home and barn. Well, moving on now, the push for affordable housing continues across the state, with some progress showing at a site in southern Maine. Governor Mills visited the site of an affordable housing project in Portland that will eventually yield 60 new units. Leaders said funding the project was complicated and involved everything from affordable housing tax credits as well as loans and federal, county, and city funding, which helped make the project possible. Governor Mills says she has recently signed related legislation.
Well, I was very pleased the other day to sign the extension of the Maine affordable housing tax care. I think another 10 years. So it'll help projects like this one all around the state, including rural rental and others. So.
Meanwhile, current Secretary of State Shenna Bellows released a new ad on Monday in her run for governor. Bellows is one of the 5 Democratic candidates now running for Maine governor. She made headlines during the primaries in 2024 when she fought to restrict President Trump's name from the Republican primary ballot. She cited his involvement in the insurrection on January 6, 2021, saying that event disqualified him from running for office. Ultimately, though, the Supreme Court ruled that only Congress, not the states, can enforce this provision against federal candidates. However, in Bellows' new commercial, she continues to take aim at the Trump administration.
I'm hearing from people 2 things. They want someone who will stand up to protect our democracy and fight back against abuses of power by Donald Trump. And they want someone who will fight for the working class to lift up our friends and neighbors.
The video is in part a reference to her telling the administration to jump in the Gulf of Maine, related to other issues. Bellows is Maine's 50th Secretary of State and the first female to serve in that role.
With just over a month until the primary election, candidates are making their final push to win over voters. But one candidate is attempting what political experts say is nearly impossible. As our Alex Schley tells us, Andrea LaFlemme is looking to secure the Democratic nomination as a relatively unknown write-in candidate.
I think I am the best person to unite Maine because I see people, I'm not excluding anyone, and that's really what we need in a leader if we're going to beat Susan Collins.
A union president, teacher, and a healthcare professional, Andrea LaFlemme has worn many hats, but many know her from 2022 when she wrote messages in chalk outside Susan Collins' Bangor home, calling for the senator to protect women's reproductive rights.
After she washed the chalk off the sidewalk and called the police and everything that followed, it became clear that she not only didn't want to hear from me, but wanted to silence me.
LaFlemme says that's the moment she decided Mainers needed change. In June 2025, LaFlemme filed with the FEC, but says a sudden health emergency forced her to suspend her campaign.
Fast forward to February, I'm feeling better. I'm still not loving what I'm seeing for the cast of candidates. So I decided, now or never, I'm going to relaunch my campaign.
LaFlemme is now running as a write-in candidate in the June 9th primary election. Political analyst Mark Brewer says in order to win, lesser-known candidates like LaFlemme must first build name recognition.
If someone's not going to vote for you if they don't know who you are, they don't really have much of a chance, unless, of course, they can build their name recognition.
LaFlemme argues the current political landscape may work in her favor, pointing to ranked choice voting in what she describes as division surrounding Graham Plattner and Governor Mills.
They can both be really divisive with certain groups of people that they've slighted in the past, either through their actions or through the things that they've said.
Whether this will be enough to break through in a crowded primary will ultimately be decided by voters on June 9th. I'm Alex Schley reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, Husson University honored a beloved and well-known graduate on Monday afternoon, dedicating a plaque in his honor. Bob O'Keefe graduated from Husson back in 1967 with a bachelor's degree in business administration. He went on to work in sales for a number of organizations. More recently, he became known for his dedication to the Husson softball program, frequently attending games and getting to know the players. He played a central role in the construction of the softball field, the hitting pavilion, which bears his wife Fran's name, and also a $2.4 million gift from his estate to the university. A commemorative plaque was unveiled at the very spot where O'Keefe often stood, offering his support to the players.
He remembers, what position you play. He knows your strengths and your weaknesses probably better than you know them. But that's kind of what really makes Bob admirable and kind of makes it really special for all of us players, having someone who invested in us through the years.
Raymond says she's glad they chose to put the plaque in what she called Bob's special spot. She says his support was always uplifting, regardless of how those games were going.
Last year, Isabel St. Cyr made history as the first transgender woman to compete in the Miss Maine USA pageant. Isabel is returning to the stage this year to compete again. A fundraising email says the now 25-year-old is returning to the stage, quote, with renewed determination as she prepares to compete for the Miss Maine USA 2026 title. The email says St. Cyr finished as a finalist in the national pageant in March and is feeling more motivated than ever. The Miss Maine USA pageant happens on June 21st.
Well, there's good news for those who frequent Mount Desert Island. The Island Explorer is opening up 3 of its routes serving Acadia National Park a little bit early this year. For the first time in its history, the beloved bus service will open its Gateway Center, Loop Road, and Schoodic routes beginning on May 20th. The news comes after Acadia National Park's busiest year on record, with more than 4 million visitors coming to see the sights in 2025. Other Island Explorer routes will operate from June 23rd through October 12th. For more information, head on over to the Island Explorer page on Facebook.
Well, a dozen ducklings have now been returned to their mother after falling into a storm drain. It was on Monday morning when security responded to a sound of a worried mother duck at Central Maine Medical Hospital in Lewiston. The little birds were peeping up a storm as rescuers made a plan to save them. The 12 fuzzy little ducklings were eventually pulled to safety with help from Lewiston's water department.
A very relieved mama duck there.
I love those pictures too.
Yeah. Awful cute.
It is. Well, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, local greenhouses and flower shops are now welcoming customers for spring. We'll have more ahead.
But first, another look at that forecast. A beautiful day ahead today, mostly sunny skies with highs near 66 degrees. We'll see some rain moving into the area tonight, lows dropping down to the upper 30s. Tomorrow, a rainy day, on and off tomorrow, highs near 52. We'll be right back.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At CNR Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the CNR promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with CNR Carpet Cleaning.
Kirk Fisher is a motorcycle attorney with first responder experience. He protects fellow riders and those in danger. Fighting fires and fighting for your rights. Experienced, determined, and dedicated. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. Look for motorcycles, or Kurt Fisher will be looking for you.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Step into a story that's funny, touching, and deeply human. Winterport Open Stage presents The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney. This unique production blends a series of scenes into a heartfelt look at family and tradition. Performances run May 1st, 2nd, 8th, and 9th at 7 p.m., with matinees May 3rd and 10th at 3 p.m. at Samuel Wagner Middle School in Winterport. For tickets, visit winterportopenstage.net or find Winterport Open Stage on Facebook.
A Navy veteran in Orrington has a new roof over his head thanks to a partnership between local organizations. On Monday afternoon, Smith Builders and the Maine Veterans Project teamed up to make it happen, giving the home a much-needed upgrade. Organizers say that the old roof was the original, installed more than 50 years ago, and long overdue for a replacement. Smith Builders employee Zachary Christian says this is the most rewarding part of the job, thanks to Roofs for Heroes, a partnership between local businesses that focuses on giving back to veterans.
We're all part of the community. It's not all about business. It's not all about just making that extra dollar. Sometimes it's about helping the people who've helped us out. And that's the big thing with veterans. You know, they did a lot of work to help us out and help out our community. It's just our small way of giving back.
Well, if you or someone you know is a veteran in need of a new roof, you can apply for Roofs for Heroes online. We have a link to that on our website at foxbangor.com.
Well, as the war in Iran continues, so does the upward trend in gasoline prices. Along with 38 other states in the U.S., average gas prices in Maine have risen this week 22.2 cents per gallon, to be exact. The price per gallon is now averaging about $4.19. That's 37 cents per gallon higher than a month ago and $1.21 a gallon higher than a year ago at this time. Meanwhile, the national average price for diesel has decreased roughly 9 cents compared to a week ago, standing at $5.40 per gallon. Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis for Gas Buddy, said, quote, oil prices have been climbing again as markets react to renewed geopolitical tensions and the cancellation of talks between the U.S. and Iran. As a result, gasoline prices are set to rise further this week, with diesel expected to follow.
Well, spring has arrived across the state, and local greenhouses are seeing a surge of customers ready to get their hands dirty after a long winter. Our Alexa Kennedy tells us more.
At Woolly Ridge Greenhouse, owner Sherry Allen says even snowy conditions couldn't keep people away on opening day. She says many locals are eager to refresh their yards and embrace gardening as both a hobby and a practical investment.
Everyone's just starving for color and get out and work in your yards. And with the price of gas, no one's going to be able to go very far for vacations this year. So, I mean, they're going to make the yards beautiful.
At Evermay Nursery, new owner John Welton similarly reports a busy opening week and growing excitement among customers.
Every April, people are anxious to get their hands dirty and planning things out. You know, it's been kind of cold and rainy this month, so this past weekend with the sun really brought folks out.
Both Allen and Welton say they've seen a growing number of younger customers.
Young people are really getting and having so much fun. They come in here and they're like dancing up and down the aisles going, oh, can I do this? Is this all right? It's like, yes, do it all.
I think it's a bit of a timeless interest, really. So it makes perfect sense that there's people of all ages interested.
Both owners say that rising costs have led to slight price increases, but demand remains strong.
Well, we're hoping that the trend that we have seen from COVID continues, which is that there's just a general increase in the number of people interested in growing plants and gardening.
Allen adds that supporting local businesses remains important despite rising costs.
Your money stays in Maine. It's just important to support your neighbors, support your businesses.
Alexa Kennedy in Orrington and Orono, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, it's a great hobby, I think, for everyone, and it gives you a nice chance to get outside and do something, you know, physical.
Yeah, I don't have a great green thumb, but I like to dilly-dally out there and, grow a few things. I'm going to try to grow some veggies this year, I think.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 8:18. After the break, a proposed tax on billionaires is now advancing in the state of California. We'll have the latest on that.
Plus, we'll highlight a local tool barn in Searsport. You won't believe the collection this guy has. We'll show you as Good Morning Maine rolls along.
Diabetes isn't a death sentence, but it is absolutely a life sentence, and you have to figure out how you're going to keep your kid alive. So when you find somebody from the government that's on your side, and it happens to be Susan Collins at the same time, that was just magnificent. After the meeting in Portland for my wife and son, my wife came back. She was 10 feet tall. She'd felt seen, she felt heard, and she felt like we had a powerful advocate on our side. It was a big step towards healing. Thank you, Senator Collins. Please continue delivering for T1 families.
Get Spectrum fiber-powered internet and 2 Spectrum mobile phone lines, each for just $30 a month, and save $1,000 on internet and mobile in your first year. Guaranteed. That's the Spectrum Savings Guarantee. Switch and save $1,000 on internet and mobile.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field, So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Hi, Todd from Dorsey Furniture here with a great financing offer on beautiful new furniture. The new introductions are here, new sofas and sectionals from Flex Steel, a new cherry bedroom by Ben and Aaron, as well as a new collection of living rooms by Leather Italia. Qualified buyers can enjoy new furniture and take 24 months to pay at 0% interest. On sale pricing plus 24-month interest-free financing makes right now a great time to transform your home. Live well, my friends.
Sometimes change can be good.
But I don't like change. Look.
Just because you look older doesn't mean you're any less special.
Okay, but I am the best. And I am a man. Just listen to my voice.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22.
Blacksmiths, woodworkers, and boat builders couldn't do their jobs if they didn't have the right tools.
And no one knows that better than Jeff Pearson. He's the owner of the Swan Lake Tool Barn. As Jody Hersey found out, it's a go-to shop for craftsmen of any age.
Main axe, snow and needle axe.
Years ago, Jeff Pearson of Searsport worked as a shipwright, repairing and maintaining the vessel he was on.
I started buying and selling stuff because I got interested and I had to buy tools for that trade.
These days, you'll find him inside the Swan Lake Tool Barn, where he sells and repairs a lot of useful tools needed by blacksmiths, boat builders, and other craftsmen.
I do sell some stuff to collectors, but most of it's to users. And I get people coming back, months later saying, geez, I cleaned that tool up and sharpened it and I love using it.
He's even designed his own wooden mallet.
Live oak mallet that I make because it's getting harder to find the old ones.
Pearson loves architectural salvage too. You'll find everything from wrought iron chandeliers to some unexpected treasures at his business. Did you make this too?
I did.
Wow.
I just need to find somebody that's got the right log cabin.
A local craftsman who can find a use for just about anything, and a tool that can make it as good as new.
I don't have any retirement plan. This is probably what I'll do the rest of my life.
In Searsport, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And the Swan Lake Tool Barn is open on Saturdays, noon until 4 p.m. or by appointment. Just give him a call. He'll show you what he has.
Yeah, that antler chandelier was pretty neat too.
Yeah,
some unique finds.
Neat stuff. Jody, we were talking to her before too, and he says there's no price tags on anything. You just, if you're interested in something, go talk to him, and he'll figure it out for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small crowd advisory posted until Thursday at around 2 a.m. as we are watching for some active surf that will be moving in again, moving forward in time. Wave heights already starting to increase a bit at around 3 to 4 feet. Farther down toward the south, you do see some higher surf ranging from 2 feet, not bad, right, according to this buoy, to around 8 to 10 feet farther down toward the south. So again, a few days of active surf on the way. But on land, not looking too bad. We will have a lot of sunshine thanks to a small area of high pressure. So a beautiful day to get outside, but we do have a lot of activity that will be on the way. High pressure, or should I say low pressure, up in parts of Canada, bringing a lot of activity there, stretching all the way into parts of Tennessee with showers and thunderstorms farther off towards the west. Another area low pressure will bring us some more activity. Our first focus will be this system right there that will give us a little bit of rain on the way, and we'll start to see this moving in as we head towards later on tonight. In the parts of your Wednesday, you see we have a little bit of rain right there. It will move out pretty quickly. And then a little bit more rain trying to sneak in here through Wednesday and the parts of Wednesday night. And then a bulk of the energy will start to approach as we head towards your Thursday. So running this through for a little bit. Again, not a lot of rain through parts of Thursday morning. The bulk of it gets in here as we head towards late Thursday, Friday, and even through a little bit of the weekend. So a good amount of rain on the way yet again. So for today, mid-60s, mostly sunny, and a southeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. By tonight, we have upper 30s, increasing clouds, rain showers, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, rain showers, lower 50s for the high, and that southeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. More rain Thursday with highs in the upper 40s, with mid-50s on the way Friday with more rain, and the rain continues Saturday with highs in the low 50s.
With over 30 years of experience, Patriot General Contractors knows how to get your home renovation project done right. Our certified contractors can help you build, redesign, or finish the project of your dreams. Check out Facebook page for reviews and visit patriotgeneralcontractors.com to schedule your quote today. Patriot General Contractors, redesigning your properties for the future.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you could get a $259 a month lease on an all-wheel drive Corolla Cross SUV with a $14,064 total contract cost and 2 years no cost maintenance. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Aggravated assault, cocaine possession, endangering a child. These are just some of the crimes committed by illegal immigrants in Maine. President Trump deported all these criminal aliens. As governor, Garrett Mason will fight alongside President Trump, standing tough on illegal immigration, supporting law enforcement, and putting the safety of Maine families first. Garrett Mason will deport dangerous criminals. He'll keep Maine families safe. We have strong leadership in Washington. It's time Maine did too.
Honey, I'm home!
This is gonna be a big one.
We got what you need.
I'm really hoping to find a good girl I can settle down with. This is gonna be a fun one for sure.
I can't stress enough how hard of a decision this was.
What can possibly go wrong?
We got it all right here.
The suspect at the White House Correspondents' Dinner now charged with trying to assassinate President Trump. Sources say 31-year-old Cole Allen had railed against the president and his policies before he allegedly raced through a security checkpoint at the Washington Hilton and then opened fire. ABC's Lionel Moyes has more from New York.
The suspect in the attack at the White House Correspondents' Dinner is charged with trying to assassinate the president, along with multiple weapons charges. Officials releasing images of the weapons he was allegedly carrying: a 12-gauge pump-action shotgun, a .38 caliber pistol, and 3 knives. They say he fired one shot. Agents fired back. Officials say a Secret Service officer shot in his bulletproof vest may have been hit by friendly fire.
We want to get that right, so we're still looking at that.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says 5 shots were fired at the suspect, 31-year-old Cole Allen, who was tackled to the floor and was not hit by any bullets. Sources say a social media account that belonged to Allen appears to have shared multiple posts, including one saying, "Trump must be removed from office. He has no capacity to do the job, and he's destroying the U.S." Another reading, "The aspiring dictator dismantling your country and your institution does not give even the tiniest expletive about your little Glee Club protest." The White House blames Democrats for fueling attacks that have targeted the president.
This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries responding, calling the White House press secretary a, quote, disgrace and a stone-cold liar, accusing her of ignorant recent attacks targeting Democrats.
Press secretary wants to lecture America and lecture us about civility. Get lost, clean up your own house before you have anything to say to us about the language that we use.
Officials say they're still investigating Cole Allen's motive. He could face life in prison if convicted. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
Now to a controversial idea, a new tax on billionaires. The proposal now advancing in California. Sophie Flay has the story.
We have collected over 1.5 million signatures.
Supporters of a new tax on billionaires are celebrating, appearing to gain more than enough signatures to get the proposal on the November ballot in California. The measure would impose a one-time 5% tax on the assets of more than 200 billionaires living in the state, factoring in their stocks, art and collectibles, and their intellectual property. Labor unions say the money raised would address problems caused by recent cuts to healthcare programs.
Longer emergency room wait times, fewer healthcare workers, rural hospitals shutting down.
But Governor Gavin Newsom, along with Silicon Valley tech executives, fiercely opposed the proposal.
You would have a windfall one time, and then over the years, you would see a significant reduction in taxes because taxpayers will move. And that is what I fear at a state level.
Opponents saying the exodus has already begun to Florida, Texas, and Nevada.
When businesses leave California, thousands of good-paying jobs disappear.
Google's co-founder saying, I fled socialism with my family in 1979 and know the devastating, oppressive society it created in the Soviet Union. I don't want California to end up in the same place. But others argue billionaires need to pay more of their fair share.
Invest a little more in keeping California running.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, several new developments overnight in the war against Iran, including a new report raising questions about U.S. weapons stockpiles. Once again, here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This morning, a new report in The Atlantic is raising questions about what the president is being told about the war in Iran by his closest advisors. According to the magazine, Vice President Vance has repeatedly questioned the Defense Department's depiction of the war in Iran and whether the Pentagon has understated what appears to be the drastic depletion of U.S. missile stockpiles. The Pentagon has claimed U.S. weapons stockpiles are robust, but the report claims Vance has expressed concerns about the availability of certain missile systems. The White House has not publicly responded to the claims. Meanwhile, Iran has now proposed reopening the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for being allowed to collect tolls from ships passing through. Secretary of State Marco Rubio dismissing the idea.
If what they mean by opening the straits is, yes, the straits are open as long as you coordinate with Iran, get our permission, or we'll blow you up, and you pay us, that's not opening the straits.
With peace talks at a standstill, some world leaders are criticizing U.S. strategy in Iran.
Und ich sehe im Augenblick nicht.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz claims the U.S. has no exit plan and says the U.S. is being humiliated by the Iranian state leadership. A far different tone is expected today from King Charles when he addresses Congress before tonight's state dinner. Despite differences between the U.S. and U.K. government on the war in Iran, Charles is expected to focus on the strong British-American alliance.
He's going to emphasize in very strong terms how important he feels, and therefore the government feels, the relationship is, and he's going to describe it as very significant in human history.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, a Newfoundland dog and his great-grandmother are taking social media by storm.
This story will probably make your day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right, we'll have that for you coming up.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You're already getting squeezed because Susan Collins voted with Donald Trump.
to raise healthcare costs and raise insurance premiums. Now, Susan Collins voted to give Trump a blank check for his war in Iran.
Gas and oil prices are on the rise as the conflict in Iran continues.
The war in Iran is impacting the global economy and raising the prices you pay.
Tell Susan Collins to stop supporting Trump's wars. Mainers can't afford it.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026, and this is also Global Pay It Forward Day.
This special day is celebrated in 80 different countries. It encourages us to do random acts of kindness. It's a way to pay forward some of the kindness that we may have been shown in the past. The hope is that it will create a ripple effect and then inspire others to also do good deeds.
I've said it before here. I really believe it too. You get what you put into the universe.
Oh, absolutely.
You go around doing good deeds for others. It could be as simple as holding a door for somebody.
Right. Or you said, paying for someone's meal in a drive-thru.
Yeah,
or
something like that. You know, it comes back to you though. It's usually tenfold too. So
it sure does.
All right, time for some history. It was on this day back in 1789, mutineers led by Fletcher Christian took control of the ship HMS Bounty after departing Tahiti. They set their oppressive captain and 18 other crew members adrift in a small wooden boat in the Pacific. Some of the mutineers remained in Tahiti, and others, including Christian, established a community on a Pacific island. That's really kind of dumbing down a very intense, detailed story.
Yeah.
Incredible story about that whole thing, though. But
very
it happened on this day.
Yeah.
In 1914 on this day, William Carrier received a patent for the design of a modern air conditioner. The Carrier Air Conditioner Company still making them to this day.
Yeah, we can thank him.
Yeah. And in 1967, heavyweight boxing champion Muhammad Ali was stripped of his title after refusing to be inducted into the armed forces for religious reasons.
And in 1988, an Aloha Airlines flight miraculously landed after a large section of its roof blew off during a flight. The cabin was suddenly filled with freezing hurricane-force winds. One flight attendant was swept out of the plane, but everyone else survived. Look at that picture.
Just incredible.
And in 1994, former CIA officer Aldrich Ames was sentenced to life in prison for passing secrets to the Soviet Union. And lastly, in 2004, people around the world were outraged after images were released of U.S. troops abusing prisoners at the Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Jessica Alba, who is 45 today. Comedian Jay Leno is 76, and pro golfer John Daly, a real character.
He is.
He is 60 years old today. And happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is on this day.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote. 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have advisories posted. A small craft advisory is up until Thursday at around 2 a.m. So we will be watching for increasing surf as we do proceed forward in time with another area of low pressure moving through. But for today, we will not have to worry about that with a beautiful day on the way, with a mostly sunny sky on the way thanks to high pressure parked overhead. As we do zoom things out, there's our next area low pressure off toward the south and west, bringing a lot of thunderstorm action to parts of Tennessee and a few other areas. We'll see another area low pressure off toward the south and west that will begin to move into the north and east. So the main center is in parts of Canada. Another one off toward the south and west will begin to move in our direction very soon. But let's focus on today. Lots of sunshine. weekend. And then later on tonight, we will start to see more clouds. Some energy off toward the south will give us some more rain as we head towards your Wednesday. This is not the main area low pressure that I'm worried about, but we will start to see some more rain coming up soon. Hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine. Temperature is in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood.
Here's ABC's Sherry Preston.
Olivia Rodrigo is back on top. The pop star's new single, Drop Dead, has debuted at #1 on Billboard's Hot 100. This is Rodrigo's 4th #1 hit. Her other chart toppers include Driver's License and Vampire. Rodrigo's new album, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love, is set to release on June 12th. We have our first look at Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. The Big Bang Theory spin-off series is set to premiere in July on HBO Max. The series will center on Stuart Bloom, the owner of Sheldon and Leonard's favorite comic book shop. I can turn a dance floor into a runway. Lady Gaga and Doechii have released the music video for their single Runway. The single is set to be featured in The Devil Wears Prada 2, which hits theaters on Friday. Disney is the parent company of 20th Century Studios and ABC News. And happy birthday to Jay Leno, who's 76 today. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Yeah, big honor for Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, story right after this.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister. Your buddy. The ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Just announced, get over $9,300 in total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado. Plus, Costco Executive members can get an additional $1,250 members-only incentive.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage, doing business the right way every day.
I'm State Representative Valley Geiger. I wrote a bill to ensure rape kits are tracked to protect victims and identify perpetrators. Every year, its passage was blocked. But then I told Graham Plattner, and the first thing he said was, Valley, how can I help get this bill passed? He campaigned on it. We spoke to hundreds of Mainers about it. He brought in an army of volunteers to call about it, and the bill will soon become law. It's easy to focus on your own campaign. It's what most politicians do, but it's not what Graham did, because it's not who Graham is.
I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
This spring, invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value season after season. With the county's 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years with interest-only payments over those 10 years. 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit. The County Federal Credit Union. CountyFCU.org.
We're ready for baseball, and off we go.
Major League Baseball, all season long on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start with some breaking news. As of Monday night, our very own Cooper Flagg has been named NBA Rookie of the Year. Flagg just edging out his good friend and former Duke roommate Con Knippel as that late push paid off for Flagg, scoring 96 points in a weekend to cap off an incredible rookie season. He accepted the award with the NBC crew after the announcement.
Surreal, it's pretty cool. I mean, that's obviously the award that all the rookies come in, to their first year and, are searching out and wanting to get that, recognition. So I think, like Grant said, it just means a lot, and, I'm really blessed.
Coop, T-Mac here. I remember a time in my career where I was fighting for trying to win a scoring title against the late, great Kobe Bryant, and I was just watching him from afar. I was in the East, he was in the West. Did you do the same with your roommate, your college roommate, Con Knippel, where he was playing so well? Were you keeping an eye on how well he was playing just to make sure it motivated you to get this award?
For sure. I mean, I see the games, every night. I can check the box scores. I see it on Instagram, whatever. So, but I think also, I was watching Khan just because, that's one of my brothers. We have such a good connection, and we're going to be, there for each other for the rest of our lives. So, I think I was watching him, as a fan as well. But there's obviously that that competition at the same time.
The kid just wins. It seems to be as simple as that. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend, and boy, was it a wild one in the Boston sports world. So wild, we didn't even have time to talk Patriots draft, but we'll start with the bombshell of the weekend on the diamond. Saturday, the Boston Red Sox fired manager and 2018 World Series champion Alex Cora after 8 seasons with the Sox. They also let go 5 key staff members as well, including Jason Varitek, who they said reassigned. I'm not sure he's going to accept the reassignment. The move came as a shock to baseball fans, not necessarily because of the firing itself, given that the Sox were off to a disappointing 10-17 start, but more so shocked at the timing. Firing a manager just 27 games into the season is extremely rare in the MLB, but Sox Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow says it was to try and get the most out of this season.
Ultimately, responsibility for the performance on the field, it falls on me as the leader of the baseball operation, but so too does the responsibility for doing everything that I can and everything that the organization can to find solutions. And right now, we feel like this change, these changes were warranted. Certainly, the performance on the field has not been what we expected. And beyond that, again, this is a decisive, and convicted demonstration of the confidence we have in our player group.
As for that player group, they were shocked to get the news, just like the fans, that their manager had been fired after Saturday's 17-1 win. That emotion was evident before Sunday's 5-3 win, especially from Trevor Story, who was not impressed by the front office's explanation to the players.
It's one of those things where we're humans first, so the personal relationships, the friendships, like the relationships that you build, those don't just go away because they're not here anymore. And so I think the biggest thing is they made it very clear that, hey, y'all's job is baseball players, play baseball. And so it was one of those things where that's how we have to go about it.
They spoke. Yeah, they spoke. And there just has to be more conversations had. So I wouldn't say it was satisfactory.
The Sox have responded. They're 2-0 since the firing, but we might as well stay with the bad and go to TD Garden, where the Bruins got embarrassed in Game 4 of their series with the Sabres on Sunday. The Bees fell to Buffalo 6-1 in a pivotal Game 4, which puts them down 3-1 in the series. The game felt over before it even started on Sunday, as Boston went down 3-0 within the first 11 minutes, allowing 3 goals off 2 turnovers and a penalty. They now have a massive mountain to climb if they want to advance to the second round, as only 3 teams have come back from being down 3-1 since 2020. Here was Charlie McAvoy after Sunday's loss.
We're going to have to go back and watch it. I think maybe, there were some bad bounces, but I just don't think we executed well.
Charlie, just how do you explain that performance?
I don't know. I don't have any answers right now. It was just an embarrassing performance. We picked a bad time to have one of those, but, we're not out of this thing yet, so, we got to remember that, and we got to reset here quick.
Well, how about finally get to the good stuff? You trade an embarrassing Bruins loss for an embarrassing Celtics win. The Seas rolled over the 76ers on Sunday night, 128-96, to take a 3-1 series lead, and this one was never close. Jaylen Brown scored 20, Jason Tatum scored 30. Peyton Pritchard actually led the way for the Celtics, scoring 32 while coming off the bench, as the guard from Oregon continues to make the case that he's one of the best contracts in the NBA.
It's a good feeling, but it's more of it's a flow state. I like to say it's like when you get in that flow state, it's the rhythm of how you're dribbling, the moves you can get to, in the shot making, obviously. But it's a good feeling. But I try to, in my workouts, I try to hit that on a daily. So then when I get in the games, it's a regular thing.
If Pritchard can keep playing like that, the Celtics are in a very good spot this postseason. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basementy.
When you get a little shout out at work, melt into your moment. Irresistibly smooth Lindor.
From me, the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Need struts? RockAuto.com has budget, standard, and premium options. Wiper blades, frame, beam, or winter. Click the info button for features and benefits. All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
It was a night of illumination in the skies over Austria on Monday. 3,000 drones lighting up the skies over Vienna, over Castle Schönbrunn, to promote the upcoming Eurovision Song Contest. The light show, accompanied by 3 ESC winning songs, forming different pictures that represent the musical numbers. This year's contest, comprised of 35 countries, is set to take place in Vienna from May 12th through the 16th. Let's keep it running a little bit longer. You can even see them writing something in the night sky with all of those drones.
Yeah, it almost, before it forms that picture, it almost looks like fireworks.
Pretty neat.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this might be my favorite story of the morning. A Newfoundland dog has been doing quite a bit of moving and shaking and digging. It's the friendship taking over the internet between a Newfoundland and his 96-year-old great-grandmother.
Here's ABC's Danny New.
I saw him. As we know, Chewbacca is quite the dependable co-pilot in Star Wars.
I'm here and dig.
But for 96-year-old Barbara Collins, her granddaughter's dog Chewbacca is the perfect co-pilot in gardening.
It's really my dog. I hope she knows that she realizes it's my dog.
I don't want to say it, but it's true.
Barbara lives next door to Amy and her family's North Carolina home, and over the past few weeks,
right here,
millions online have been blown away by Chewy's ability to follow Barb's digging instructions when planting flowers.
Barbara, were you surprised when you did the first cane poke and he started digging for you?
No, because I figured he was going to do it. I just poked my cane there and some on Chewy. Dig, and he did.
Of course, this connection makes a little more sense when you see this now 4-year-old Newfoundland on Barb's lap as a puppy.
He was always really gentle with her from the very beginning, which was very weird for like Newfie puppies. They can be like bulls in a china shop.
He likes the rain. He needs to be covered.
Oh my God. Now they go on walks together, they watch the sunset together.
They'll be twins, Chewy.
And Barb even sews outfits for Chewy, such as matching pajamas and an Easter Bunny costume.
Bart, where have you been?
And when I asked Barb if having all these hobbies like gardening and sewing was the secret to her longevity, she said only partially.
I also think it's very important to love. And I think we love each other. I love Chewy, he loves me. What good is it if you don't love each other?
And since I know you were wondering, yes, Barbara and Chewy have indeed posed for a Star Wars photo shoot with Barb dressed as Princess Leia and Chewie dressed as Chewie. May the Force be with both of them this coming May the 4th. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Chewie just loves her so much,
I know,
you can tell.
It's so cute, and I love that her great-granddaughter has been posting them on social media. They've really become a sensation.
What a neat thing.
Well, now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Take a Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small crowd advisory posted until Thursday at around 2 a.m. as we are watching for some active surf that will be moving in again, moving forward in time. Wave heights already starting to increase a bit at around 3 to 4 feet. Farther down toward the south, you do see some higher surf ranging from 2 feet, not bad, right, according to this buoy, to around 8 to 10 feet farther down toward the south. So again, a few days of active surf on the way. But on land, not looking too bad. We will have a lot of sunshine thanks to a small area of high pressure. So a beautiful day to get outside, but we do have a lot of activity that will be on the way. High pressure, or should I say low pressure, up in parts of Canada, bringing a lot of activity there, stretching all the way into parts of Tennessee with showers and thunderstorms. Farther off towards the west, another area low pressure will bring us some more activity. Our first focus will be this system right there that will give us a little bit of rain on the way, and we'll start to see this moving in as we head towards later on tonight. In the parts of your Wednesday, you see we have a little bit of rain right there. It will move out pretty quickly. And then a little bit more rain trying to seek in here through Wednesday and the parts of Wednesday night. And then a bulk of the energy will start to approach as we head towards your Thursday. So running this through for a little bit. Again, not a lot of rain through parts of Thursday morning. The bulk of it gets in here as we head towards late Thursday, Friday, and even through a little bit of the weekend. So a good amount of rain on the way yet again. So for today, mid-60s, mostly sunny, and a southeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. By tonight, we have upper 30s, increasing clouds, rain showers, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, rain showers, lower 50s for the high, and that southeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. More rain Thursday with highs in the upper 40s, with mid-50s on the way Friday with more rain, and the rain continues Saturday with highs in the low 50s.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese!
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals by weight.
I have no idea.
Congratulations! Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. This is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
With the Kentucky Derby just days away, it's prep time for the horses and their trainers at Churchill Downs. This year's Kentucky Derby favorite, Renegade, trained on Monday and then had a sponge bath. His trainer believes his horse is now the best in the Derby this year.
Very good. Yeah, it was a very enthusiastic gallop. Seemed to be on his toes. It was a pretty decent crowd on the other side there that seemed to, he's probably not used to gallop in front of a crowd like that. So he was on his toes.
The Kentucky Derby will be held on Saturday, May 2nd. Quite the to-do down there, too.
Yes, it is.
People put on their favorite dresses and things like that, get the
yeah.
big old hats.
The hats.
It's quite a thing.
I want to go to it sometime. I think it'd be fun.
You should do it.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he appeared on Diagnosis Murder, where he portrayed an actor who kills viewers' interest. It's Greg